How to start a cleaning business from home. So many people think you need an office, vehicles and cleaning staff to start your cleaning business, but that is not the case at all, because both myself and countless others have set up their cleaning business from their kitchen table and continue to run it completely remotely. And that is what I want to talk about in today's video, the 5 key steps to go through to get your business up and running from home. So first of all, client marketing. So in my case, what I did is I focused 100% on digital marketing channels. So advertising on Google and Facebook. And in today's era, I'd be looking at AI like ChatGPT and focusing my time there. Running the business remotely meant that, giving out flyers or business cards or networking with local property managers was just that much more difficult. That meant that it was far less likely to be able to run your business remotely. So the reason why I like these online marketing channels is that they're really scalable, which means that once you get advertising working at say $1,000 a month, you can ramp it up to 2,000, 3,000, really with very little additional work. It's very scalable. And the second part that I liked about digital channels was that you can scale this across locations. So in my case, my business went from 1 location to 4 locations, and what I did is that I found a strategy that worked well in location 1 and simply replicated that same strategy across locations 2, 3 and 4. So there's very, very much less learning time in those additional locations because we had nailed it down at the beginning. So client marketing, really the recommendation or my advice would be to focus on those digital channels. For me, Google is still king. I would be looking at Google search as well as AI search. And I think if you can get those 2 nailed down, you're in a really great position. So something that might be helpful for you guys is I have a top 20 marketing channels guide. I'll leave a link in the description below. It goes into a bit more about the Google search channels and AI, but it also looks at all the other successful channels that are out there. I think that you probably want to try in your area. And then once you find those that are working really, really well, you want to double down on those to really accelerate your business. So take a look at the PDF, link in the description. So second, cleaner recruitment. So what I did with the recruitment is, without having an office, I often get asked, how do you find good quality cleaning staff? So for me, at the beginning, we focused on telephone and Zoom interviews. We would run an ad on Indeed or another job site, and we would filter candidates. We would make sure that there were certain specifications, certain questions that they answered the right way. Things like, how willing they were to travel, which areas of the city were they happy to clean in, their availability, and providing that they answered all those questions for what we were looking at, we would send them a link to our telephone interview software. So we use Calendly, great piece of software. It allows people to self-schedule a telephone interview without the back and forth, without having to go to the candidate. Are you available on Thursday at 2 p.m. or Friday at 9 a.m.? You send them the Calendly link, they book in a time according to your availability, and then they get sent a confirmation email. And what we would do is that we would get the cleaners to call us rather than the other way around, because what we found is that not every single person who would book a interview would end up picking up the phone if we called them. So by putting the onus on them to call us back, we saved a huge amount of time. So really at the beginning, after that application step, getting people to book in a telephone interview was step 1. And then if we liked what we heard, for us, it was really running through the job spec, making sure that they were happy, answering any questions, but importantly, trying to ascertain their English language ability. Because our business is a house cleaning business, we were going into people's homes, so communication with the client as well as us in the office is extremely important. So we needed to make sure that on that telephone call that their English language ability was sufficiently high, that communication would be seamless. So if they got through that stage, then the next step was thinking about inviting them to a Zoom interview. So again, Again, we don't have an office. We could run interviews at a local coffee shop or a local hotel lobby, but again, it's not very scalable. It doesn't really lend itself to running a truly remote cleaning business model. So this is where Zoom was really important. And again, what Zoom is doing is that we are looking at how that person is face to face. Obviously, we don't get that over a telephone call. And really, because we are sending cleaners into people's homes, they need to have some degree of communication. If there's anything that you can pick up on that Zoom interview that really doesn't lend itself, maybe it's their manner or their attitude, then that would be something that would get picked up in the Zoom interview. Again, we're going to be checking the job spec. Again, we're going to be checking English language ability. That's really important. And what we found is that if someone passed the telephone interview stage, passed the Zoom interview, we would then look to give them a job offer. The job offer itself, we would always put a 24-hour or 48-hour expiry on there, because you send out a job offer and let's say it takes someone a week to get back to you, as opposed to say someone getting back to you the same day. If you looked at those two candidates, what would you say? You would probably say the person that responded and accepted the offer earlier was much keener, much more wanting of that job than someone who was taking a week to get back. So we put that time expiry because we try and weed out those people who are unsure. It's much better that if someone is unsure about the job, that they get filtered out sooner rather than later. So we put that time expiry, and then once that job application comes through, because we were using contractors, there's no training period. We would hire experienced people at the beginning, and we would send those new recruits to 3 one-off jobs, and we would just see how they would get on. We'd be looking at the client feedback, calling all those clients to see how they're getting on, making sure that the quality of the work was good, but also making sure attitude was there, making sure they were on time, making sure time management was good. And really the idea and how we ran recruitment with this remote model was that we would tell new recruits that it would take a few weeks to really ramp up and fill their calendar. Once those first few jobs went well, we would then start booking more further ahead. And once we got to about 10 one-off jobs that went all well, we then start booking in with recurring clients. Obviously, the recurring clients, the really valuable ones. So we don't want to give people or new recruits recurring clients at the beginning, because that really risks the chance of that recurring client cancelling. So in a nutshell, that is how we ran recruitment. It is completely doable from home, running a remote cleaning business model, and it scales really nicely. Whether you're recruiting one cleaner a month or one cleaner a week, you can use that same strategy to scale up very quickly. So number 3 is then job management. So at the beginning in my business, we used Google Calendar. Every single cleaner had a different colored calendar. We would share that link with them. They would access the Google Calendar and they could see the jobs that were coming up. The client's name, the address, the job details, and that worked really well at the beginning. Obviously completely free, but quickly as I would say, getting to maybe 3, 4, 5 cleaners, you then need to switch to a proper scheduling software. And the scheduling software, the 2 I always recommend are ZenMaid and Booking Koala. I have lots of clients that use one of those softwares, and with as well as having this advanced calendar feature in the software, it also has lots of other very valuable tools that become more important as you scale the business. So if you speak to a client on the phone and they want to go forward, you can book the client there and then. There's a Stripe integration, so you can get the customer's card details. Once that's in the calendar, they will get an automated email confirmation sent to their inbox. 24 hours before the clean starts, they'd get a reminder. After the clean completes, there's a ratings and feedback request email that goes out. Emails and text messages can get sent out. So these scheduling software, whilst they're not free like Google Calendar, have so much more functionality that it really makes the dollar amount that they charge each month really worth it. And again, by having some system like this in place, you can really run this business completely remotely. It really minimizes the amount of admin staff, office managers, or VAs you need in your cleaning business. And it means ultimately that you as the business owner can pocket more of the money in terms of profit. And then number 4 is cash versus card payment. As I said on the last point, using ZenMaid or Booking Koala with that Stripe integration allows you to take card payment very easily. After the clean completes, you can then auto bill that client. So what I would strongly recommend with running a remote model is that you want to stay well away from cash or check payment. You'll get probably some of your more, older clientele, old school clientele, maybe still looking to pay by cash or check. But really, this really complicates things. If they leave money for your cleaner, you would then need to meet the cleaner to get the cash, then deposit the cash in the bank account. You would then need to pay the cleaner. Questions about, did the client leave enough money? Oh, I didn't leave money this week, I'll leave extra next week. If checks go put through but checks bounce, you've got all this administrative burden. So I would tell people, if you are running your business from home, from your kitchen table, just focus on card payment. Don't get involved with cash. Don't get involved with check. Sure, there will be some clients that insist on that, but you need to be disciplined and give them a hard no. It's much better that you don't serve those clients and you save that time that you would have spent processing those payments and then you can take that saved time and think about, how do I grow the business? What marketing channels do I need to do? So, you can look at more productive things to grow your business further. So focus on the card payments. That is the way to really do it. And then point 5 is scaling up with VAs. So VAs or virtual assistants are a critical part of your business. When you are running your business at home as the business owner, you can run recruitment, you can run client marketing, you can take client calls, you can use ZenMaid to book and schedule clients. But at a certain stage, you will want to think about moving yourself away from the day-to-day running of your business. And this is where hiring a virtual assistant can be completely transformative. A virtual assistant is effectively an office manager, someone that can run the day-to-day operations of your business, maybe running part of your business. Maybe they run your inbox and take client calls. But really, ultimately, you want to get a VA or VAs who do everything in your business for you. They're running recruitment, they're texting your cleaners about jobs, they're taking client calls, they're dealing with client feedback or complaints or things like that. So VAs, you can find and hire them in your own country. Obviously in the US, you're going to be paying more than if you're hiring a VA in Colombia or in South America. And there are pros and cons to both. I talk about some of these on other videos on my channel, but having a VA as that first point of call will hugely save you time. It will also save you a lot of stress. I remember when I was running my business, I was doing all the cleaner management. I remember I would wake up every morning to some text from some cleaner saying they were running late or they had to take the day off with little notice. And if your VA is being that first point of call, it really extracts you from all that stress. You're obviously paying an amount of money to them. The profitability of the business is coming down, but really with that, that freeing up of mental headspace, you will really find that you end up being able to invest time to grow your business. Your business will grow faster and more profitably and more scalably as well. So if you are looking and interested in how you set up and run your cleaning business from home, this next video will go into a bit more detail. It's one of my most popular videos of this year. It's how to set up a remote cleaning business in 2026. It'll dive into the client marketing and recruitment in a bit more detail. It'll go through the step-by-step process you need to go through to get started and get on that journey to building a profitable cleaning business. So I'll see you on the next one.